We're listening to another episode of Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. This is the place where you're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, the one and only, Brad Allard.
The one and only. Is that what I am?
Maybe.
I don't know. Well, I hope so anyway. Today, we have Sarah Beagles from the Alzheimer's Association going to tell us all about The Longest Day, which for us old timers, when you said first heard about Longest Day, I was thinking, that's a World War II movie with John Wayne and all these other... You surely didn't take it from that, did you?
No, but if you Google The Longest Day, that's still the first thing that comes up.
It's like...
Oh, you need to put like an ALZ after that.
Yeah, okay.
And then the event comes up.
Yeah, and so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what the Alzheimer's Association does and where they're at and what the programs are and some of the issues dealing with Alzheimer's, which... unfortunately, is becoming so common. And, you know, the older I get, the more people I know that are getting it.
Yeah.
And it's very concerning, you know, to say the least. And I hope we talk about possible, I don't know if, can they cure this, you think, one day? Or is it just, or you can modify its effects? Is that,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah, well, and that's one of the reasons why we fundraise is to help just spur research to eventually find a cure. But we are not there yet. So one thing we can do is just help educate people on how to prevent it. And
So it is preventable.
well,
It's best it can
Yes.
be. Okay.
yes.
But we can talk about all those things because, like I said, I'm getting to the point where I know more people that are suffering from this. Either their parents are or have older relatives. Fortunately, you know, thank you, God, as my parents are still around. And there's a difference between just being forgetful and Alzheimer's. You know,
Yes.
My parents are getting a little forgetful. I'm very forgetful, but they don't have Alzheimer's, thank God.
Correct.
And that makes life easier. I can't think of hardly any situation more difficult to deal with than somebody in your family with Alzheimer's.
It's very difficult.
And we can talk about
Yeah.
what people can do, access. I'm sure y'all have plenty of support systems and whatever.
Oh, yes.
But before we jump on that, we'll talk about my support system here. It makes all this possible. The sponsors, CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. Thank you, Daniel. Daniel Baisden is a old student of mine, too. Not that old. Well, he's 40. All right. Anyway, Daniel Baisden, thank you. CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. Check out the webpage, crossfitburleson.com, and you can see the webpage for memberships and plans and training and all this other. Another former student, Shandy Stogsdill, Stogsdill Group. Thank you, Shandy, for your sponsorship. Hope you're doing well. I know you're pretty busy turning transactions into relationships. She has 2 or 3 homes right now I know she has available, and she will be on the show on March 3rd. We'd have her on every quarter to talk about local Burleson real estate and what's going on with interest rates and things like that. And by that time, we have some very interesting conversations because at any day now, I expect to see the interest rates rise. And so she can help you with that, too, with her husband, Ronald. Thank you to Rex Russell. This is his birthday today. Happy birthday to Rex. Hope you're doing well over in Cleburne. We're at the Russell Wealth Group. Hit myfinancialbox.com. See his video. He's quite the character. You'll be glad you got together with him, talk about 401ks, talk about retirement, talk about all this stuff. Thank you to Kimmy Etheridge at Optavia. You know what Optavia is, by any chance?
No.
It's not just a weight loss program, but a maintenance program and a lifestyle program. And my brother-in-law's on it. I have 2 or 3 people that are around. One of my last guests was on it, and they all swear by it. Because it's not just lose weight and then thank you for your check. It's a whole maintenance program, so it's a really good thing.
And who is it?
Her name is Kimmy Etheridge, and it's called...
well, that's my maiden name.
Well, you know, notice that, right? But they don't spell it the same.
They don't spell it the same.
I think you don't put an E in the middle
Correct.
in the name. It's Etheridge, and hers is Etheridge, and so
Got
there you
it.
go. All right.
I just heard that and my ears perked up.
Yeah, well, she's very sweet. I have a relationship with her through a group called BNI, which is a networking group, business networking group. And along with this lady as well, this is where you need to take pain is at Southern Gym. All right, on the 3rd floor of the Windmiller Building. My wife just got some jewelry repaired there, affordable and quick and no hassle, and it was very well done, and she was very excited. It was a bracelet from her mother, and so they do repairs, they do design, they do all sorts of things, and they have new stuff. And so you might want to drag old Payne over there. Course,
That's good to know.
Of course, knowing Payne, I could see him. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Payne Beagles with Beagles Tech, another sponsor. He was on here about 3 weeks ago. I could see him going to a jewelry store. Very analytical. You think, is that about right?
Yeah.
You know.
We shop together for,
The expensive
engagement
stuff.
ring.
Oh, yeah.
It was very educational for the both of us. Yes.
Well, my wife, we got married in 1988, and she had a background in jewelry, and she got hers wholesale. So she bought her own ring, and I paid for it, but she picked it all out. And I didn't see it until they showed it to me.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Hey, she was happy.
well, she is, and it was a lot more of a ring than I could afford at that time. But she got it wholesale. Anyway, we're getting off the topic here. Let's talk about y'all. First of all, I have to know a few things about you and Payne. I'm not going to get too personal, but we were talking about this before the show. You know, Payne is a former student of mine. I've known his parents, Doug and Laura, forever. His sister Mallory. Is she still practicing as an attorney, or is she okay? I know she was an attorney for a long time. She has like 2 kids or 3.
2.
Okay, but she needs a 3rd.
You should tell her that.
Yeah, I will. I'm sure
See what she has to
you
say.
betcha. But they're great people. They're
great people.
wonderful people. So how did y'all meet, you and Payne?
We met at Christ Chapel Bible Church, and we just had a lot of mutual friends. And it's funny because I knew Mallory first. So her
From Christ Chapel, I guess.
From Christ Chapel. So we served on a board. Well, we still technically do serve on a board together called Women in the Workplace. So it's a part of the women's ministry. And back in 2017, she was the president of that board, and I had just moved to Fort Worth, and so I was just getting plugged in. And she told Payne, she's like, "Hey, do you know this girl Sarah? She's new to Christ Chapel. My sister went to that church or still does go to that church and everything." He was like, "No." But she knew better than to
No blind dates.
just set Payne up with someone. And so God's sovereignty, I guess. But she told that story at our rehearsal dinner and everything. It's just Mallory knew that we would be a good match, but it just ended up happening on its own, and the rest is history.
I see you looked across the room. He looked across the room. Your eyes met. Boom, you knew right away, huh?
Exactly.
No, not exactly. For my wife and I, we have different stories how we first met. I remember seeing her when we worked together, and she was introduced to me. She remembers it differently, so there you are. So make sure your stories are straight.
Yep.
But you've been married about 7 months, 8 months?
Yes. Yeah, July. So.
And one smooth ride, isn't it?
Yeah.
What the thing is, when I got married, the hardest thing to adjust wasn't, all the little things. It was like just sharing stuff, bedroom, bathroom, whatever. I guess you had to, work that out and that kind of stuff.
Well, and we're both over 30. And so the decade of being in your 20s, it's a very formative time. You gain a lot of independence, a lot of habits and routines. And we're, definitely working it out, and it's been great. But it's just interesting to observe, even moving in together and what furniture to keep and what to give away and merging styles.
Yeah.
It's kind of fascinating, but we're working it out.
It's part of the fun.
It's part of the fun. That's right.
It really is. I've been married, coming up on 34 years in May, and, I wouldn't trade it for anything, to tell you the truth.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah. Well, she'll tell you that some days have been better than others, but it's been the best decision I ever made, so there you are. But
That's
anyway, so let's talk about your background with the Alzheimer's Association. Have you been working with them long?
So I just had my 6th year anniversary in December. So it's been a good chunk of my career, and I came about working here because in my previous job I worked at an advertising agency. And
Like a private company?
Yes,
in
Fort Worth.
Was it? But it wasn't a nonprofit?
No.
It was, okay. Okay.
They took a chance on me. So our bookkeeper at that agency ended up leaving, coming to the Alzheimer's Association, and she did HR. And so she recruited me over, and she just was like, Sarah, I think you'd be a really great fit for this job. And I knew I need to be in a relational job, and working in the development department for a nonprofit kind of just mixes the relational aspect of work and then marketing. So it was a really good fit for me. At the time, I had no personal connection to Alzheimer's disease. Unfortunately, my grandma, my mom's mom, in the past 2 years has pretty, rapidly progressed with her dementia. I don't think it's technically Alzheimer's, but she definitely has some big cognitive decline.
Yeah. And it's almost, I want to say the same thing, but it has the same impact on the families.
Oh, Yes. I mean, caregiving is no joke, whether it's with Alzheimer's, any kind of dementia, cancer, anything. It's just very daunting, a lot to take on.
Well, that's interesting though, because going to a nonprofit and this Alzheimer's Association is a big one. I mean, it's a multi-state. Is it international?
Well, it's national.
National, but it
Yes.
is. It's cross country. This isn't just some local outfit.
No.
Was there a real big transition in mindset, so to speak, between the private sector and then coming to this nonprofit that's has a worthy goal? I know advertising's great and you're making a living and all this other stuff. Now you're working for a cause. Was there a change in mindset that you noticed?
Yes, definitely. I utilized a lot more of, my passion for just helping people and just seeing and witnessing so many stories, just learning so much about the heartbreak behind the disease and knowing that I could apply my skills, talents, etc., towards helping the greater good and possibly finding a cure for Alzheimer's. I mean, it's kind of priceless, and it's really unique to the nonprofit world. And at first I was very skeptical because I didn't know much about the disease. I'm like, am I going to like this? Am I going to enjoy it? And I remember my parent, just talking to my parents about it. And they were like, oh my gosh, this is such a huge deal. It is it's a national crisis. Like you need to do something and get involved, and you're definitely going to find your place in this organization. And so,
well, your story sounds somewhat similar to mine. I had a other career before I was a teacher. Now I didn't go to a nonprofit, even public schools. Okay, I don't know but it was a different mindset altogether. But same motivation. You just wanted to do something important.
Yeah.
And you wanted to do something that you could look back on and say, somebody may have been helped by my decision to do something important. Yeah, and so I fully understand what you're saying. I mean, I'm just going to guess that potentially the income would be higher in the advertising field, because I was a financial analyst, and then the money was a step down, and the potential earnings weren't as high. But then again, the things I've gained from public school teaching, I'll never be able to pay for, such as the Beagles family. Would I ever known them otherwise? I don't know. So that's the kind of thing that I look at it, and you're probably looking at it the same way. And I'm sure some days you think, man, this is nuts. Like every organization or the bureaucracy and all this. But then there's some days you think, thank you, God, that I was here to be allowed to experience this.
Yeah. I mean, you wear a lot of different hats in the nonprofit world, and sometimes it's just like, wow, this was a weird week.
Where are you located at?
So our office is in Fort Worth, off of 30 and Forest Park.
30 and Forest Park. I know the area.
Yes.
It's a nice area.
Yes, really close. I mean, right across from Trinity Park and all of that. And we're at a great location. Our chapter, we're called the North Central Texas chapter. So, like you said, we're a national organization. We're in every single state. We cover every county. But for North Central Texas, we cover 40 counties. And so Dallas is its own area. But we have, Fort Worth, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Waco.
So you have offices in these towns?
Yes.
Okay.
And not every chapter is structured like that, but we do. So we can kind of have some catered attention to more rural areas. 40 counties is a lot.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Where is the national headquarters?
Chicago.
Okay. So you get to go up there very often?
Well, I've never been there. I've run across the office before on my own time, but I've never had a reason to go up there.
Oh, well,
for work.
So you've been to Chicago otherwise?
Yes.
Okay.
I was like, oh, there's our office.
Yeah, right. So you went there for work, but you went there for, I don't know, sightseeing and whatnot.
Yes.
My wife and I done that a couple of times. We like Chicago. I don't know if we go back right now because of all the hair pulling going on in the world and all this business.
I know.
But we loved it. And so one of my favorite cities outside of Dallas, Fort Worth. Well, Fort Worth's my favorite town.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to go in the summertime. When I went, it was for a concert. I just remember it being 6 degrees when I went there.
Yeah.
It was just, very chilly.
Oh, yeah. My wife and I went there Christmas of 2006. Prior to that, 3 degrees was the high one day.
I
Fortunately,
don't know how to dress for that.
yeah,
most
well,
of
I
the time.
didn't either. And so the story I tell them is that we were going to walk to, at the time, is Marshall Fields. Now it's a Macy's. But it's about a mile and a half from the hotel we're staying at. We thought we'd go down, take a nice walk and all this. We didn't even get to the corner before I'm yelling for a cab because it was so cold. It's like walking through a deep freeze.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Who did you see?
His name's James Blake.
I guess I'm not
He's more.
a Christian artist.
No.
No, well, I don't. Okay.
I'm
Well,
just a big fan.
okay. Well, good. Okay. But anyway, I just
Yeah.
anyway, I'm not familiar with Mr. Blake, but I'm sure he's fantastic.
He
But
is
anyway,
fantastic.
so what exactly do you do for the Alzheimer's Association?
So my title is Senior Longest Stay Manager, and our development department. And when I say development, it's fundraising and event planning.
Right.
There's 5 of us, and well, I guess 4 of us right now, but it fluctuates, between 4 and 5 people. And so we have a couple of signature events, and Longest Day is one of them. Our Walk to End Alzheimer's is another. I mean, that's our bread and butter. It's a huge fundraiser for the
Well, I
association.
remember that. I've been hit up for that a few times.
Yeah.
So
it makes a lot of money, thankfully, so we can do what we do.
when is that, by the way?
The walks are in the fall, so September through November. And of course, I help out with those too.
So you said
but
September through November, so it's not just a one-day event?
well, there's a walk per major city. So
Oh,
you'll
right,
have a
right.
Fort Worth Walk to End Alzheimer's, and we have Arlington, Waco, Northeast Tarrant County.
So it isn't all like on, first Saturday in October, nationwide. It's
No.
over a period of time, and so it's spread out through a time. That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
probably a good idea for an organization of your size. But anyway,
Sure.
so you
So-
publicize and put these together, and
Yes, we do everything, based on, national guidelines and structures. And so we can kind of have a streamlined, efficient event. But for Longest Day, just, in a nutshell, the Longest Day is a DIY fundraiser. So different from the walk. It's do it yourself. You sign up online and you start a team, and you can choose any activity that you want, anything.
you know what it sounds like is like faith in action, or sometimes a lot of churches do, where they choose their project as an example of faith. Like our Sunday school classes, like we help paint a house for an older person in our church, and another time we helped. There was an abandoned house that one of our people wanted to buy, and so we helped clean it up, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So-
yeah.
so
Like
it-
you have some freedom of choice within the activity, but it's all about what you're passionate about doing, or the loved one you're honoring, what they're passionate about doing. And you do it in honor of those facing Alzheimer's, because every day can feel like the longest day.
So it's on June 21st?
Yes.
Okay, which
And
is
sometimes the 20th, because we, recognize when the actual summer solstice is, but by no means do you have to do your activity on that day. Like Texas gets pretty hot
Yeah.
in June. So if you want to do something in November,
Yeah.
go for it. But
Yeah.
because if you're doing something for, or if you're committing yourself to raise money, people will respect that.
There's
and honor
several
that.
longest days in the school system. The day after Halloween, Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
the day before prom. Those are long days.
Great point.
Yeah. So, but
Great point.
but the longest day is symbolic because, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
for every day is the longest day for an Alzheimer's patient.
Yes.
And how long has this particular type of function been going on?
That's a good question, because I'm actually the only manager that our chapter has had for the longest day. So it's new. I believe they did like a soft launch as an organization. So probably 2012, 2013 is when it was introduced, and worked out some of the kinks. And I was hired December of 2015, and that's when every chapter was encouraged to really get serious about implementing this. And it's been really cool to see it grow.
So it started at the national level, and they said, here's something we're going to try to pursue, and the local chapters adopt it and try to maybe adapt it to whatever their community is needed.
It was established as a signature event, essentially. So we all need to get behind this and do it.
And you've been working on this particular project since you're beginning with the program, or beginning with the association. And now you're the senior manager. And I guess there's some, it's like putting on any kind of event. There's all these unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my role essentially is to help recruit and coach people to do their event well.
How do you do that?
That's a yeah.
I mean, sorry, is that
That's a great question because it's so many things. I have a committee, and so it's split into 3 subcommittees. There's recruitment, marketing, and engagement, and so they really help everything come together. So recruitment, we need to build our participant base. We need people to sign up and do something and just become aware of what the event is and help them do their thing. So once they're recruited, and marketing, we help spread awareness and everything through all different kinds of platforms. And then engagement, we have a group of people, volunteers, who just really love connecting with others. And most of them have participated in TLD in the past. And so they're assigned, let's say, 10 to 15 fundraising leaders. People have already signed up. And they just check in with them monthly. And they coach them. And they help keep their longest day dream alive so that they can be successful and fundraise to their best ability.
Well, when you talk about recruitment, I'm going to look at that particular part of it. Is it you try to get the word out and platforms similar to this, but I mean, not everybody listens in this show, unfortunately.
Sure.
But how would somebody know that this is even available to them?
So it's cool because we have this thing this resource that we talk about a lot. And it's called the sphere of influence. So one of the reasons why having a committee is really valuable, and what I actually need to utilize myself as an employee, it's thinking about what are you involved in throughout your daily routine, throughout your week, throughout your month, your dry cleaners, your schools, your work. We all have different networks of people. And so being an ambassador in a sense, for the longest day kind of helps have a ripple effect within our community. And we meet online. So I have committee members in Wichita Falls and Waco, in Baird, Texas. And so we do our thing that way. But, our home office does a great job of having paid social media campaigns and everything. So we can just get the word out on a more broad level. But if I learned anything in college studying advertising, word of mouth is the most powerful form of advertising.
That's how I got my sponsors. I mean, I like to think that they saw this and, my gosh, I got a piece of that. No, I knew many of them before. Obviously, your husband certainly, but anyway, I'm just thinking, you probably go to like church groups or civic groups and whatnot, and try, because those are the people that would be most likely to do something.
Well, and as our development department is, we really try to partner with our programs and services. So the association's kind of split into 2. We have programs and services in our development. So we just, you can't have one without the other. And they are very well educated on our walk on the longest day. And so whenever they are leading support groups or they are meeting with families and helping to educate them, a lot of times people see those free resources that are giving to them, and the natural inclination is like, I want to do something to give back. And so providing something like the longest day to give to them, a lot of our participants have come through that way as well.
Well, I could just imagine, though, you go to these groups, you talk about your program, and then hopefully a seed has been planted that somebody else may have to harvest. But I'm thinking of a group right now that isn't in your area. Would you deal with somebody that was outside of your area, or would you give that to the person that was dealing with that area? Yeah.
So it is based on zip code, right? So if someone registers within our 40 counties, I see it on a report, and then I establish a relationship with them. But I want anyone and everyone to know about it. So I'm not going to withhold information just because they're not in our chapter.
No, well, I didn't think that, dearly. But I'm just saying that it just, you would hand them off to somebody that's responsible for that particular county.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so if they registered, someone else would just make that relationship.
I'm going to put a bug in his ear because this friend of mine had a family situation that we're describing, and I think he might have some interest in that. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. And that's probably what you're talking about. It's really, that's kind of what the networking thing I'm involved in. It's like, you never know when the opportunity pops up, right? And, and you're just talking to somebody, and all of a sudden you find out, well, I know somebody that's a part of this group or this company. They may be interested, and that's
Yeah.
yeah, and that's how it works. But you have
Exactly.
so you spend a lot of time out of the office doing that kind of thing.
Well, yes, and in
Mm-hmm.
outside of COVID,
Right.
it looks a little bit different the past couple of years, but normally we're at networking events all the time and going to different senior communities. They're also a really great resource for just to sign up and do something with their residents. It's very meaningful to them.
At the end of the show, let's go over all the ways that you can. I'm talking to the listeners now.
Yeah.
They could support this kind of program. Not just the longest day in particular, which we'll talk about, but also Alzheimer's Association as a whole, the various fundraising opportunities that I'm sure you'll take gifts, and and how, if you're listening or you hear this later tonight or tomorrow on the podcast, you say, you know what, that's something I may be interested in because my father has Alzheimer's or my uncle has it, or whatever, and you feel led to do these kind of things. I want them to be able to know how to contact you personally if you need to be, or your organization. But right now, we need to talk about the second round of sponsors, because somebody's got to pay the bills. Somebody's got to keep tailoring that Tesla. But anyway, Our Place Restaurant. You ever been to Our Place by any chance? It's here in town. It's
Not sure if I have.
Well, next time you're visiting with Doug and Laura, tell them to take you to Our Place. It's a great restaurant over on the highway in Alsbury. I'll be there today, actually, right after this show. I'm going to be meeting a friend over there at lunch, and it's a great place. It's very friendly, and
Nice.
Otto, the owner, is a wonderful man. Also, you don't strike me as a cigar smoker. There's Wild Cigar and Culture over on the Standard Building over in Hidden Creek, but you're not a cigar smoker, are
No,
you? Neither is
I'm
Payne. No. Well, anyway, it's a good place to go. If you know somebody, you can buy gift cards and whatnot, and it's a great cigar bar. Has a nice high-end bar, so it's not some cheesy, greasy dive. It's a nice place. You can take your mother there. But also they have a great humidor, so you can buy gift cards and whatnot, even if you don't know what the person in your life, what they smoke, you can let them pick it out. So there you are. Also, Antonio Basalo at proactivepaymentsolutions.com, the point-of-sales operations. I'm sure Alzheimer's has a big one, their point-of-sales operations. But if you're starting a business or you have one and you need a more efficient, less expensive way of getting paid, then Proactive Payment Solutions can do that. So check out their page, proactivepaymentsolution.com, and Antonio will hook you right up. And then, of course, Beagles Technology Solutions. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, Payne's been working really hard, and he is really smart at what he does.
Yes,
and
he is.
His whole thing is just meeting you where you're at, big or small, with implementing what you want to do. So if you have a hard time hooking up a new computer and integrating a lot of other, just like a network with it, he can do that. Or
I'm sure your home is a smart home.
It's getting there.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work, but he wants me to point out two things to the vast listening audience here about he can hook up your home, make it a smart home, more efficient, more cost effective, and he also now is doing drone videography, I understand. Yeah, so he's just got that. I guess there's some sort of certification or licensure or something like that, but he just got it a couple weeks ago. So if you want some pictures of your roof, if there's some damage, or if you want something photographed aerial wise, he can do that for you as well. So all these things. Are you pretty excited about this business for him?
I am.
And we both know him well enough to know he's going to make it work at 24/7.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes, well,
With Payne.
we were talking about that before the show, that he was like this as a young man. He had certain goals, and by golly, I'm going to have them.
Yeah.
I remember when he was like a junior, when I first got to know him, I knew he was from church, but he was just a little kid then. But when he became a student, he told me pretty clearly, I want to wear those cadet boots.
Oh,
at A&M.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he did.
Well, and I told you this, but that's one of the main things that my mom was so impressed with him about, because just from an early age, he just had like laser vision on being an Aggie, being in the band, and all that business. And
I forgot what
he made
instrument he
it
plays, though.
saxophone.
Okay.
Pretty sure he hasn't played it since, but by golly, he was.
Well, my wife was in the
Gung-ho then.
band with the flute, and I don't think I've ever seen a flute in our home, but there you are. But anyway, thank you, Payne, and hope you get the chance to listen to this. Your wife's doing great, by the way. She was
Pretty
like,
sure he is. He said he was.
well, I bet he will. He's probably on YouTube because I know he's not a big Facebook guy.
Hi, Payne.
Anyway, and Tiffany Griffin over at locallifetx.com. Local Life Magazine will be out in about a week. What is the day? 21st? It'll be out next week sometime. It's lots of advertising for the local area, 30,000 homes, 110,000 people. Tiffany, hope you're doing well. I know you're busy because this is the busiest time. The third week is always the busiest time, but you don't probably get this because you live in Fort Worth, I assume.
Yes, I do.
But it's a really good local marketing magazine, and it goes all over this area, Johnson County, and so it's
Awesome.
It's really nice. And then lastly, my little radio station, Live 365 at Burleson Radio, your voice, your station, playing greatest rock and roll hits and stuff like that. I have a little internet radio station a buddy and I put together because we could.
Yeah.
And so it's not a real big deal, but it's a big deal to us. And so there you are. But
Nice.
anyway, I'd like to talk about the status, if you will, of Alzheimer's research.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the hopeful prognosis that, that we're making progress, I guess is the better word, progress for this. And then at the end, let's lay it all out. How do you get involved with the longest day? Who are you talking about? How do I get in contact with you? On and on and on. But anyway, I'm sure they keep you abreast of all the developments in Alzheimer's.
Yes.
So what can you tell us?
Yeah. Well, there's so much that, I don't know because
Well, it's a very complex topic.
Yes. But we have quarterly webinars. They're very transparent as an association with where our funds are going and what we're studying, what we're making happen, because the brain is just by far the most complex thing in your body. And there's so much to learn. But I will say too, we work really closely with the UNT Health Science Center, and that is one of the major hubs in America for Alzheimer's research. So if you're local, you should be proud of that. So there are a couple of researchers that we've really gotten to know, and they are just so smart, and they can very eloquently put in layman's terms where we're at. So there are a few things that we're studying. There's a lot of, I guess you'd call it longitudinal studies with time and people throughout their lifetime who have dedicated their lives to be studied with their lifestyle habits and even down to your ethnicity. How does this impact your risk of getting Alzheimer's or the rate at which it progresses? So, it is a very complex thing. But there are a few things like sleep. I know they are big time studying your sleep habits and how that affects your risk of getting Alzheimer's and how important it is because, it's your brain's time to reset.
Yeah. Are there any at-risk behaviors that they've noticed that lead to Alzheimer's? I mean, like diet or anything else like that?
One of our favorite, or at least one of my favorite resources, it's like a little one-pager that I give out. It's called 10 Ways to Love Your Brain. I don't know if I can recall all 10 right now.
Okay.
But it's like 10 ways to help prevent Alzheimer's and to your point of just what you can do. Diet is a big one. So a lot of these things are kind of common sense, right? Get lots of sleep.
Drink lots
don't
of water,
smoke.
right? Everybody says, drink
lots
water.
of water.
Drink water. Drink water.
Or just not drink a ton of alcohol.
I'll drink more water.
Yeah. Because, one and the same. Just make sure you drink lots of water. Read lots of books and
I do that.
just keep your brain stimulated and challenged. So whether that's doing a puzzle and reading.
I like crossword puzzles, which makes me an old man, I know, but I like them.
I love crossword puzzles.
Okay, there you go.
It's my
Thank
favorite
you.
activity on a plane.
Yes. And
So you're in good company.
good for you. I also read a lot. My wife thinks that's all I do. That and watch college sports. But anyway.
That's good. Oh, and socializing. Because I was going to say this earlier when you were talking about just post-retired life. I'm just like, good for you. Good for any retired adult to keep engaged with other people, keep busy, keep active. Because that's just, there's so much that we take for granted with everyday conversation. The memory that's involved and just the engagement that's required with your brain in order to keep that going. Because until you're with someone with dementia or Alzheimer's, you're like, oh my gosh, this is really challenging for them. And we take that for granted if you're without the disease.
Now, Alzheimer's is different than, say, difficulty with short-term memory. Is it, or are they the same?
So when you said earlier about forgetting things, it's different. So the main example we like to give that puts it in perspective is your car keys. Everyone forgets their car keys.
Yes.
I mean, that's just a part of being a human being.
I hope that's not an Alzheimer's sign.
It's not. It's not.
For me, it's the phone or the TV remote.
Yeah. Where did I put that? Or what am I? Yeah.
Or I walk into a room and go, what did I come in here for? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm here at the refrigerator. I don't know. Or you open the refrigerator and go,
what
wait a
was
minute.
I doing?
Yeah. Okay. I'll come back.
Yeah. So that's part of the human experience.
Okay.
But the difference is, oh, wait, what are these for? Mm-hmm. What are these car keys for? Why am I holding these? That's a different sort of forgetting versus where did I put my keys?
Well, I'm going to use my father as an example. He's 84, and he can't remember short-term that well. Mm-hmm. He remembers long-term memory, but he knows where he is. He knows who I am. I get in the car with him. He knows where to go. He doesn't get lost in his hometown in Corsicana, where he lives. Mm-hmm. We say we're going to go get a pizza, and he knows what we're doing and what the order from my mom was. Those kind of things. But if he couldn't remember what he was doing or got lost or who he was, that's Alzheimer's, right? So really what my dad's experienced is just being 84, more than anything else, which is tough.
Yeah.
All by itself.
Well, and there's lots of tests run, of course, to actually diagnose
He's had 'em.
Alzheimer's and the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia, because that's another common question that we get. Dementia is, think of it like an umbrella, and Alzheimer's is just the most common type of dementia and I mean, it's a disease, but it's interesting though, too, as an association, we cover or we help support dementia of any kind. We just brand ourselves as Alzheimer's Association because it's by far the most common.
Right.
So
they could find out, though, somebody listening to this show today or tomorrow, they said, well, I have a relative that I don't know. They could find this information on your webpage, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have a Science Hub app, too, that is awesome. Anyone can get on there and learn or just get questions answered. That's very just technical, way above my pay grade, but anything research related.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Payne sent me a text.
He did? What did he say?
It's about the 10 Ways to Love Your Brain at alz.org.
Woohoo.
See, there, isn't he wonderful?
He's so wonderful.
He's so wonderful.
He's so attentive.
Okay, 10 Ways to Love Your Brain, alz.org. So if you want to check out some healthcare tips on your brain, guys.
Yes.
Okay, you think you can handle that? You need some health brain tips there, Taylor? All right.
Not me.
Not you. All right. Well, anyway, alz.org. There's 10 Ways to Love Your Brain. There's probably all sorts of other information on alz.org.
Well, and it's also one of my favorite things, too, because it gets younger people to care.
Yeah.
And, the longest day helps people, younger people, feel like they're getting involved in, but a lot of times people think, oh, that's something I'll worry about when I'm older.
Well, I'm going to text this particular link to Taylor, and he can put up the page in a few minutes. And there you go. It'll be on the screen pretty soon.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, but that's nice. But as far as preventatives, they could find out, but also Alzheimer's is not something you can reverse very easily, if at all, is it not?
No.
Yeah.
Well, there's a pretty, did you follow the new FDA approved drug? This was really big news this past year.
I heard about it because my dad, like I said, doesn't have Alzheimer's, but I know a couple of people that families have had it. And so, I had some interest in it. But I don't recall all the details because I kind of maybe zoomed through that article and then moved on to the next.
I'd look into it just for your own curiosity. I mean, it was pretty controversial, but at this point, it's called Aduhelm, and its big thing is it can't regress anything, but it can slow the progression.
Right, that's what I heard. That also, my dad had his cognitive abilities tested.
Yes,
and so they didn't come up with an Alzheimer's diagnosis, but they did say here are ways to improve or maintain, if nothing else. And so. So there are those things.
Yes.
And the ALZ group, your Alzheimer's group, really funds a lot of these research projects, right?
Well, yeah, and
Oh, well, then maybe they'll ask you a question. Is the bulk of your funding go to helping people with it or helping people research it?
all of the above.
All the above. Okay.
And I really do respect and appreciate our transparency of division of funds, our budget, if you will.
Oh, sure.
How we spend our money as an
Well,
association.
it's all available, I'm sure, online.
Yes, it is. And we have a pretty lean overhead spending, budget breakdown. So, so much of our money goes to research and to, of course, help with events because you have to spend money to make money. But yeah.
All right, Payne, I see it on one screen, but we still have, there it is. Good for you. See, he's always quick. See, there it is.
Yep.
Break a sweat, hit the books,
Yes.
butt out, no cigarettes. Okay.
Yep.
Follow your heart. Okay.
Healthy heart, healthy
All right,
brain.
Heads up. Oh, about wear a helmet, fuel up right, balanced diet, catch some sleep. I could use that myself. Take care of your mental health. Like, okay, hang on to that one. Some studies link. Well, he's going through it. Basically, if you're suffering from some sort of depression or other kind of emotional, mental condition, you need to take care of that because it could make Alzheimer's more likely and or more worse, right?
Well, and yes, an interesting and really sad statistic, honestly, was, you might want to fact check me on this, but throughout the COVID era, people with Alzheimer's were 16% more likely to pass away because of everything that was going on. And I think the mental health and the buddy up component are very closely connected because, people need people.
Well, yes, that's what they tell me. But
Yeah.
okay, we're coming in the last 10 minutes or so. Let's talk about it from Longest Day. How do we get a hold of you if they want to do this? How could you get a hold of them? What does it entail? Well, in other words, where's your addresses? Give us your address, your phone. Well, I don't know if you have your business phone number. We don't need your personal number,
Right.
But
Right.
where they can contact you if they're interested in that.
Well, my email is sbeagles, so Beagles @alz.org.
That's I bet when you first got married, though, you kept putting Etheridge, right?
Oh, well, it's a thing.
Or like when you sign
change.
something,
To change your name.
sbeagles@alz.org.
So that's my email. But if you want to get involved with The Longest Day, I would just say go ahead and sign up. And you can either Google The Longest Day, ALZ,
Yeah.
if you don't want to watch the John Wayne movie.
Well, it's a good movie.
It is, yes. But
The Longest
you do
Day
that.
ALZ.
But it's the technical address is alz.org / The Longest Day.
Okay, but if they got on just the main webpage, I'm sure you have a button for it or whatnot.
Yeah.
Now-
It's pretty easy to find. But if you register and you're in our area, you'll be hooked up with me and I'll reach out to you and we can take it from there.
Now, there are other fundraising opportunities other than this one, right? I mean, I'm sure Longest Day, and you mentioned the walk, are like your two big tent items,
Right.
the flagpole items that you call it. But they're probably trying to raise money
Oh, gosh.
24/7. Yes, right. Yeah.
Yes. And we're such a,
Donate button on there, I suppose.
big organization that you can give a million different ways. So we have a North Central Texas specific chapter, or and the Alzheimer's Association website that's specific to us. You have the general national one. Some people are a little bit pickier about whether or not their funds stay local, so I figured I'd throw that in there. But gosh,
Yes,
I mean,
sure.
it just depends on whether or not you want to get involved with an event or not. But we are we would happily take any
Well, sure.
donation.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, it doesn't go for free, even though it's for a good cause. You get grants or any kind like that. Yeah, so get some of those from the state or from private.
From all over.
Yeah, you name it, you'll get them, huh? From
Yes.
government bodies and private organizations, whatever.
In our programs and services department, they are usually the ones who make those grant requests too.
And I teach in my government class just how difficult a grant request is. I mean, because it's
They're
not
complicated.
oh yes, it's much more than just fill out the form, hit submit, and wait for the check. It's months of preparation for those things.
Yeah.
Every year. So that's not something I'd rather do what you're doing, do with people than grinding out those grants.
Yeah, and it's a very rewarding job. Yeah. But I would recommend too, just people going to alz.org, because just knowing that we exist that's step one. Because for any family that is encountering Alzheimer's, it's such a daunting process. It's scary. It can be expensive, and just not reinventing the wheel. One of our favorite resources is our 24/7 helpline. And it's 1-800-272-3900, I believe.
You will do it again, because that way you get it twice on the air.
Yeah.
1-800
272 3900.
3900.
So please,
Write
please
that down,
Google
guys.
that before you. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm correct, but I don't have it in front of me.
Well,
but
you dialed it before.
What's great about that is if you have a newly diagnosed person, or you have a crisis at 3 a.m. with a family member, if it's during office hours, you'll be hooked up with your local office depending on your area code. And if it's after hours, then we have a team in Chicago that will answer the phone.
So if I, God forbid, years from now, I have a situation where I'm dealing with an Alzheimer's situation, and I'm sure they don't often follow office hours. So at 2 a.m., I could call somebody and get some sort of help.
Yes.
And direction of what to do and how to handle it.
They'll coach you through it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. No sense in reinventing the wheel.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm going to run through the sponsors real quick, and then you always let the guests have the last word. You tell us in the last part everything you want us to know.
Okay.
And you don't have a running clock, so there you are. Thank you, Daniel, CrossFit Burleson. Hope you're doing well. Hope things are doing well. Amber and the kids doing well. So it's on 317 Southwest Wilshire. My motto for him is, don't throw a fit, get fit. Anyway, that's just kind of dumb. But anyway, and then you got Shandy Stogsdill, the Stogsdill Realty Group, with transactions into relationships, because she'll help you from A to Z on the home buying process, rates and everything. Also, thank you to Rex. Happy birthday, Rex. Hope you're doing well. Over to myfinancialbox.com. Hit the link and get to know him and talk to you about your retirement plans. Also, thank you, Kimmy Etheridge, not related to Sarah here, but close. Anyway, 817-789-1622. It's health, style, and maintenance. You'll do great with Kimmy, no problem. Also, Gayla Moore's at the Jewelry, Southern Gym. Again, I could testify to the quality of the work she does and the affordability. So, because my wife got it done, so go over there and take a look. Very nice inventory as well. Top floor, third floor of the Windmiller Building off of Hidden Creek. Also, to Our Place Restaurant. I'll see you, Otto, about a half hour from now. And I'll probably get in the checkered fried steak, because that's what it is best known for. That and the breakfast stuff. He's really good at that. So, but it's a great place. So have the Beagles take you there sometime. Our Place Restaurant. In the highway in Alsbury since 1986. Also, thank you to Wild Cigar, Chris Notaboom. Hope you're doing well. I know you're doing your humidor. The cigar humidor is doing really well, he's telling me. We were texting a couple days ago. So go over there and buy yourself a gift certificate. Does anybody in your family smoke cigars?
Maybe a few.
Okay, well, if you ever have to, on the occasion, need to buy them a gift, whatever reason, that's a good place then.
All right.
Okay. Because, what am I going to get him? I don't know. Oh, gift card. Let him go buy some cigars. It's a good thing.
For sure.
Yeah. Also, Antonio, hope you're doing well. Proactive Payment Solutions. Check out proactivepaymentsolution.com, and they'll help you with your point of sales operations. If you don't have one, he'll get you one, and he'll get you the best one for your business. Also, of course, the wonderful Payne Beagles, so it's nice to see Bourne students doing well. It really is, because it makes you feel like your time wasn't wasted. It was a good investment of time and concern. So you like to see that happen. So Payne, hope you're doing well. Beagles Technology Solutions help you with your smart home, make it effective, make it efficient, make it less costly, and also with the aerial videography, help you if you want aerial videography for your property. That'd be great. If you're a real estate agent, if you're a roofer, contact him and help you with that as well. Also, let me give you the phone number. Oh, back up. I'm sorry. There you go. Your phone number, 817-944-3572. You know that number by heart, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. And beaglestech.com if you want to look at the website. It explains everything. Also, Tiffany, Local Life, how you doing? Local Life magazine coming out in about 10 days or so, and it'll be in 30,000 homes to 110,000 people. Hope you're doing well. We'll probably have her on sometime in mid-March, right now things are pretty busy. She's going to be talking about a fundraiser she has for the after prom party. They have at Centennial High School. We've been doing that for years. You probably did it in your high school days. You know, they try to keep you all off out of trouble, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing good happens after.
Yeah. You
midnight.
don't strike me as somebody who was a real party girl in high school. No. You're probably, very appropriate, I'm sure. You went to a private Christian school, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I went to Faith Christian School in Grapevine.
Which was our big rival at Southwest Christian, and they usually pounded our brains out. But that's another thing. Yeah. And thank you to Burleson Radio. Doggone you do so great. Live365.com. Look it up. Listen to your favorite tunes. Okay. You have the floor. Tell us everything you need us to know about the longest day, Alzheimer's Association, whole 9 yards.
Sure. Well, just again, I'd like to reiterate just doing some research online and learning about what the association does if you and your family are dealing with it on a personal level, because it's a tough place to be. So get yourself in a support group if you're a caregiver, or call the helpline just to get started on figuring out your situation and how to handle it best, because there's a lot of paid professionals who have done talked to people through this a million times, unfortunately. So, and if you don't have a personal connection to Alzheimer's, I think that's great. It's the 6th leading cause of death in America.
Is it really?
But it is.
I did not know it was that high, honestly.
It is. So, but if you want to do some sort of charity project or do something to get involved, the longest day is a perfect way to do it. Our walk is great too, but I mean, we're talking about the longest day today. So it's coming up in June. So now is the perfect time to get registered. And it doesn't matter how much you fundraise. You can fundraise $100 or $10,000. And, we've seen it all. So don't be scared. Just do it.
And so they can contact you again, how?
So my email is sbeagles@alz.org. Or you can go sign up for the longest day at alz.org/TLD or /the longest day.
Okay.
Either one works.
And so if you're listening out there, which I hope you are, and this is hitting pretty close to home for you, this is an opportunity to fight back against this disease.
Yep.
It's a good opportunity. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure, no problem. I learned a lot. I always enjoy this.
Fun.
Yeah, and we're gonna. I like to do it again when you get closer to the walk you're talking about.
Awesome.
Do you handle that as well?
No, but I work very closely with the walk managers.
Okay, so you know what
we
it's all
work
about.
together very well.
Well, next time you bring one of the managers with you if you want. It's pretty open table. We don't have a set agenda very often. I can rant about Joe Biden any day. I always like that guess,
Well, we're like a family. I love my team very much, so they would love to come on here.
Well, okay. Well, that'd be fine.
Thank you so much.
All righty. And this will be on Apple and Spotify tomorrow. It's on YouTube right now. Share it with your friends, particularly those that have been affected by this terrible thing, this terrible disease. And we hope you learned something today. I know I did. And we'll see you tomorrow.